Once upon a time, a person went to Gautam Buddha seeking advice on how to control his emotions. He was struggling with anger and frustration and was looking for a way to manage his emotions better. Buddha smiled and asked him to sit down. He said, "I will tell you a story. There was once a king who ruled a prosperous country. One day, he decided to visit a neighboring kingdom. He had heard that the king of that land was famous for his wisdom. When he arrived, he was welcomed with great honor, and a grand feast was prepared in his honor. During the feast, he noticed a fly in his soup. Disgusted, he ordered his servant to bring him another bowl. The neighboring king observed this and said, 'Your Majesty, please do not be angry. It is just a small fly. It does not matter.' The king replied, 'I cannot tolerate such things. Even a small fly can ruin my mood.' The wise king smiled and said, 'Your Majesty, allow me to give you a piece of advice. It is not the fly that ruined your mood, but your reaction to it. You have the power to control your emotions. Do not let them control you.' The king realized the wisdom in these words and returned to his kingdom. From that day onwards, he started practicing the art of not reacting to situations that would have previously triggered his emotions. He found that he was able to maintain his composure in challenging situations and make better decisions. The power of not reacting is an important lesson for all of us. We often react to situations without thinking, and this can lead to negative consequences. Reacting with anger and frustration can damage our relationships and hinder our ability to make clear-headed decisions. However, not reacting does not mean suppressing emotions. Emotions are a natural part of our human experience, and it is important to acknowledge them. Instead of reacting impulsively, we should take the time to process our emotions and respond in a thoughtful manner. In another part of the world, a young man named Michael struggled with his emotions. He often reacted impulsively to situations that upset him, saying hurtful things that led to arguments and damaged relationships. One day, he decided to take control of his emotions. He realized that his impulsive reactions were causing more harm than good, and he wanted to change. Michael started practicing mindfulness and meditation, which helped him become more aware of his thoughts and emotions. He also began practicing the art of not reacting. Whenever he found himself in a situation that would normally trigger his emotions, he would take a step back, take a few deep breaths, and assess the situation calmly before responding. At first, it was difficult for him to control his emotions. He still felt anger and frustration, but resisted reacting impulsively. As he continued to practice, he found that it became easier. Over time, he noticed that his relationships with others improved. He no longer got into arguments or hurt people with his words. Instead, he communicated calmly and thoughtfully, strengthening his relationships. One day, a friend came to him for advice, feeling deeply upset about a personal problem. Michael listened attentively and offered comforting words. His friend thanked him and said, "You always know just what to say. You never get angry or upset." Michael smiled and replied, "It's not that I never feel angry or upset. I've just learned to control my emotions and not let them control me. It's a powerful tool that has helped me improve my relationships and my overall well-being." Impressed, his friend asked how he had learned to do this. Michael shared his experience with mindfulness and the power of not reacting. Encouraged by Michael's words, his friend decided to try it himself. Over time, Michael became known for his calm and thoughtful demeanor. He handled difficult situations with ease, and people admired him for his strength and resilience. He continued practicing mindfulness and the art of not reacting, finding that it brought him peace and clarity in all aspects of life. The power of not reacting is a valuable lesson that we can all learn. It takes practice and patience, but the rewards are well worth it. By controlling our emotions, we can improve our relationships, make better decisions, and live a more fulfilling life. The story of the king and Michael teaches us that we have the power to control our emotions. While we may not be able to control what happens to us, we can control how we react. By practicing mindfulness and the art of not reacting, we can learn to respond in a thoughtful manner. This is a powerful tool that can help us improve our relationships, well-being, and overall quality of life. Let us take the time to cultivate this skill and allow it to transform our lives for the better. Anger will never disappear as long as thoughts of resentment are cherished in the mind. It will fade as soon as resentment is forgotten. He who holds back rising anger is like a skilled driver controlling a chariot. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. True strength lies in conquering oneself rather than defeating thousands on the battlefield. Do not be led by your reactions. Be led by your actions. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it elsewhere. In a controversy, the moment we feel anger, we have stopped striving for the truth and started striving for ourselves. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. You will not be punished for your anger, but by your anger. The root of suffering is attachment. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If we cling to anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free. A single word that brings peace is more valuable than 1,000 hollow words. All that we are is the result of our thoughts. Respond, don't react. Respond with reason, not emotion. In the end, only 3 things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. He who experiences the unity of life sees his own self in all beings, and all beings in his own self, viewing everything with an impartial eye. Happiness never decreases by being shared. We are shaped by our thoughts. Do not dwell in the past or dream of the future. Concentrate on the present moment. 3 things cannot remain hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the truth. True happiness comes from letting go of attachment to things and people. It is a man's own mind, not his enemy, that leads him astray. An idea put into action is more powerful than an idea that remains only a thought. There is no fire like passion, no shark like hatred, no snare like folly, and no torrent like greed. If you want to fly, you must give up what weighs you down. To change the world, start by changing yourself. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. The trouble is, we often believe we have more time than we actually do. The mind is like water, turbulent when disturbed, clear when calm. Words have power. A sharp tongue can wound without drawing blood. Do not seek to follow in the footsteps of the wise. Seek what they sought. Purity or impurity depends on oneself. No one can purify another. Let us rise and be thankful. If we didn't learn much today, at least we learned something. If we didn't learn anything, at least we didn't get sick. If we did get sick, at least we didn't die. There is always something to be grateful for. The only real failure in life is not being true to what we know is right. The past is gone, and the future is not yet here. There is only this moment. To be idle is a short road to death. To be diligent is a way of life. Foolish people are idle. Wise people are diligent. Hatred does not cease by hatred but by love. This is the eternal rule. Whatever we pursue in thought becomes the inclination of our awareness. Do not look for certainty in others. Find it within yourself. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, don't settle. You will know when you find it. The greatest glory in life is not in never falling, but in rising each time we do. No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We alone must walk the path.